to buy a new one. I have like this challenge not to buy anything for 100 days.
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
And it's actually more than I did, like 130 days. And it's on my birthday is on the 24th. This is when I'll buy stuff again. So I'm like,
Yeah, fair enough.
all right, I think we're live. Hello, hello. The event just started. Sorry for being 2 minutes late. Are you out of integration? Is it working for me? No, sorry. Sorry, Thelma and
Evolus, I guess.
Evolus, I guess, for being a minute late. I'm excited to have my business partner, Dave Schneider, here on the podcast. Um, he runs one of my portfolio companies that I started with him. It's called Shortlist, and it's a marketing agency. Dave has been an entrepreneur for a very long time. His previous business was Ninja, and he had a successful exit with this. And yeah, he's an SEO geek, and yeah, so it's running Shortlist. Maybe if you can give a quick overview of what Shortlist does.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me here, David. It's been a long time since I was on a webinar, so kind of excited to kick this off. As you mentioned, entrepreneur, I live in Philadelphia, and I currently run Shortlist. Shortlist is a digital marketing agency. We offer a few different services related to link building, content strategy and writing, and website design and development. We've been working with upcoach now for a long time, both internally using it as a tool for basically since the beginning, but also doing some marketing work on behalf of upcoach, some of those services that I mentioned. So excited to dive in and show how we use the tool. And, from a kind of an agency perspective, a little bit more context. We're about 20 or so people. We work with clients globally. And that will help kind of people maybe understand a little bit like the size of the organization and how that relates to how we approach using the tool.
Sorry, quick, Michelle, you said you have no sound. Sound is working for me. I just checked on YouTube, so looking forward to the content. Okay. Okay, looks like anybody else has issues with the sound, or is it just Michelle? Let me double check here. Okay, looks like anybody else? Yeah, looks like it's working for us. Oh, working here? Okay. All right, beautiful. Awesome. Thank you all. And thank you all for coming, by the way. Excited to have you here. Dave, back to you. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, no worries. So I think today, David, we had talked about a couple different things we wanted to show on upcoach about how Shortlist uses it. I'll let you decide what order you think is best, but one of them is basically a client portal and how we work with clients, and how we organize materials for clients via upcoach. And the others are about internal meetings, how we meet internally as a team, and how we structure an agenda. So do you have a preference on, how to kind of the order in which you'd like to go through those?
No, I think you can straight jump into it and share your screen, and
Cool.
how you're using it. It was kind of a side effect of upcoach. We've been using it first to run our internal meetings with all my we run EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system, where you have level 10 meetings, and we kind of like have a flavor of this built into our agenda builder. And then we saw that actually you can also use this for client portal. All right.
Nice. Yeah, so I hope I'm sharing my screen correctly, because I'm not super familiar with Restream. It asked me to choose like a particular browser tab.
It's working.
Cool. So what I'm going to do is start with just the client portal. So a little bit of background. Like I mentioned, we run an agency. We work with a number of clients. And as being in the service industry, we have a lot of different documents and spreadsheets that we're often providing to our clients. And I'm almost, kind of ashamed to admit, it's a little bit of sometimes this type of shoemaker dilemma type things. You're kind of working on the product and the quality of that product. You're not always thinking about sometimes the experience, the user experience. And for a while, we were very much about emails and sending people links. But then what would happen would be a month or two later, clients would come and they'd say, hey, I want to look at our KPIs, or they want to look at the tracking sheet, or they want to review the proposal that we had originally given to them. And they were just kind of digging through emails to find them. And I think it was just, not an unpleasant experience. So although I think upcoach has, many uses, one of the things that David, you tipped us off to, relatively recently, was how we can go about organizing things for clients. And so this is just our way of doing it. But in David, you'll kind of let us know some of the variations you've seen, and I know that you can there's a lot of customization allowed in the programs. But basically, the way we approach this is
One
first. Oh, go ahead.
one quick thing before I forget. Another benefit of this is when somebody on the client side leaves, like a contact leaves, or somebody else joins the project later. If the information is like stuck in email somewhere, this person will not have access to this. But if it's in here, then it becomes very simple and transparent. And one quick thing, which is showing the how do you call it, the demo program, which they always copy to and then create a new client. As you can see, members and coaches, you can rename this inside of upcoach to like clients or team upcoach or team whatever the um, client's team name is. I can
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's fun. Yeah, I knew that when we were going to go through this, you were going to kind of point out some things and like educate us on how we could be kind of using this better. In fact, it was only literally last week that I learned that you could put your own fabric on here as well. Which is kind of worth mentioning too, because you'll notice like we're in upcoach here, but actually like the domain and everything is Shortlist. So from a client experience perspective, like they don't necessarily know that they are not using a third-party tool. They don't know that this isn't something kind of proprietary from Shortlist, which I think is a benefit, right? Because it just makes us look like even a little cooler that we kind of have this whole thing set up. So you're right. We should definitely kind of change some of these things to show something like, account manager or clients or things like that. This in this case, we're looking at kind of a demo. This is not necessarily a particular client, but more about how it looks in general. And like David said, we kind of create a template and we use it for different clients. Some of the main features that we like to include in ours is I like to start with like a welcome video, and it basically actually allows the client to click and get a tour of this platform and kind of how we use it and what to expect. And it's also a way for me to introduce myself. I don't necessarily chat with every client regularly all the time, but I'd like them to kind of know who I am and feel that I'm involved in their campaigns as best I can. Some of these things are obviously going to be relevant to us as an SEO agency, but hopefully if you're watching there, you can kind of imagine how you might take these and incorporate your own documentation into them. For us, the next step is maybe the proposal that we have given to clients. This is definitely one of those things that I think like can get lost in the wayward as time kind of goes on. So sometimes even with clients, I'm trying to remember, what was the agreed upon kind of campaign and things with them. And it's nice to be able to kind of review that here. Following that, we're going to have various different tracking sheets. Again, us being a link building agency, we can essentially take a Google sheet and sort of embed it into these upcoach boxes. I always like to also include a link in the description as well in the event that they want to just like pop it into their browser. But you can basically kind of open these spreadsheets from where they are. So keyword tracking, link building is pretty common like spreadsheets that we're providing. And then as we switch into more of the KPI side of things, we're using Mangles. Again, this is, these are sort of placeholders. Not everything is kind of embeddable in upcoach. It's not going to fit every different type of scenario, but at least it's kind of organized so that when the client wants to view their KPIs, they can click the link, they can open it up, and they can see in our case keyword movements and rankings and things of that nature. Um, we have a communication board, which could be a forum. Although I'll be honest, we do tend to rely more on email and calls for conversations with our clients, which is why, in addition to this communication board, you'll see a direct link to schedule a call with an account manager if they would like to. But it's nice that is here. I know that David, you've sort of transitioned to more of like a forum dynamic in some of your organizations. And then lastly, I'm always thinking about, what are ways to potentially introduce clients into just other aspects of either our businesses or call them like partner organizations. What are ways that we can just maybe aid in the discovery of things? A lot of clients with us are maybe only using one service. And they're not either aware, familiar with some of the other services that we offer. So we like to kind of include those here as a reminder. And then we have a couple organizations as well. Some of these are also like in David's portfolio, and we felt that this would be a good place to give them additional exposure. Again, it's a very kind of, I think, passive way of introducing other brands, deals, services that doesn't feel like overly salesy, but helps, put it out there so someone might kind of come across it and be like, hey, this looks really interesting. Can you tell me more about this and that? And just a kind of way to build a bit of a network effect. So that's a little bit about how we structure this client portal for each of our clients. When someone comes on, we do send them a welcome email, and that welcome email has an invitation link for them to create an account, and it basically pops them right into their dedicated portal, which is kind of unique to them. So, David, you've already kind of pointed out a few ways which we could have improved this, but what do you think about what we've done here, and are there any other ideas that you've seen elsewhere that you think would make good for the client experience?
Yeah, but I would like to open it up to the audience. If you have any questions, uh, please type it into the chat on whatever platform you're consuming it.
Yeah, and I'm still sharing my screen, so I guess I'm.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
talk
so
to you.
feel free to queue it up if you see anything interesting.
Yep, yeah, I guess like your coaching communication could also, of course, be ran here. We also have the chat, which I think Shortlist you're not using. But yeah, that's definitely no, not this chat. I mean the actual chat in the system. Let me share my screen and show you some stuff. And
Okay, I'm gonna hit
please
stop sharing.
go. Yeah, and if anybody in the audience has any questions, do use the Kanban. The Kanban we use for. I mainly use the Kanban. I mainly use the Kanban for cohorts that I'm having to see like how engaged people are. And
It's a good suggestion actually, because we use Trello, and it's a Kanban. And a lot of it kind of comes from the fact that like we've just been using that for a long time prior to getting into upcoach. But there are definitely some services of ours that we could transition into the Kanban in upcoach. I think the ones that are specific to the client. So that's a good
yeah,
thought.
we were actually working on a task update to be able to use the Kanban also in tasks, so similar to Trello. Let
Yeah.
me share my screen.
While you're doing that, Sharon also asked about whether or not we use a template and then we customize it for each client portal. And that's exactly right. We start with a template, and then
Yes.
once we create it for the client, we'll incorporate their specific documents, spreadsheets, etc. They get a unique link. But it just, allows us to kind of create something. You're 80% of the way there already.
Yeah, basically just duplicating the demo template that you have, and then customizing it for each client. At TaskDrive, another company of mine, we also have like an individual video for each client. Kind of talking about like what we're doing with them. It's not like just the standard video that we have. Actually, by the way, I'm not sharing my screen now. All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So yeah, you just create a program A, and then this will become your template program, or you can also create an actual template. And then when you can just like go in here and make a copy of the you duplicate the program, and then you customize it to this client's needs. So that's pretty straightforward. Actually, I'm gonna move this out here. Can you still see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. I had to move this out. Can you deliver online trainings courses on up? Of course, we have a, as you can see here, courses. And in other companies of mine, we also use this to onboard new employees. They have like an onboarding course that yeah helps them to get onboarded basically. This was a question from Paul. So yeah, this is definitely what we're doing. Use Asana. What did you say? Yeah. Yes, it's coming. We're making some cool improvements to the task system, so we can. It's for an agency becomes even more interesting because you have a little more robust tasks task feature basically. Just want to show you you can set up in customization. You can of course upload your logos, but then you can create a custom domain. You just set up the custom domain, and for example, with Shortlist, it's login.shortlist.com. You would type this here, and then you make a CNAME in at your DNS provider, and then it's pretty straightforward. Even if you're not super technical, then you can get this there. Yes, correct. Sharon, can you handle Teams onboarding for the same upcoach account? Let me read this again. Can you handle Teams from the same upcoach account as for a client portal? Yes, yeah, absolutely. The only thing that you cannot do is create multiple custom domains. So it's always going to be, if this is like under the same brand, same URL, that's the only limitation. But you can just like create different programs and invite people to different programs. And actually, let me show you this real quick. How you set up a program. Actually, I can go here. So when you want to, what Dave mentioned when they sent the invite to a new customer, you can create an invitation link, and you just copy this invitation link and you paste it into the email, and then once the client clicks on that invitation link, they'll end up in the right program that you've made for them. So it's pretty straightforward to get this going. What else do I want to show you? Own URL, done. Oh yeah, the other thing I want to show you. Here it says members and coaches. When you go into the settings, you can change that up to whatever this is for you. If it's account managers and then team, whatever the client's name is, you can do this specifically for each program. So each program can have a different
Yeah, sort of text there,
label.
title. Nice. Should we move on to the internal meeting kind of example?
Yes, let me just see what kind of questions. Which information? Thanks for sharing. You're very welcome, much. And Jane, for my internal team, what is the best way to manage projects? Yes, so the projects feature is there. We use it. I'm using it as well, and I'm not super happy with it though. So we're going to have an update on that will make the project and task management much better. Currently, where do we have tasks? Here, actually, let me just, no, it's worksheets. Tasks and to-dos. Let me just assign just me. So when you create a new task, you also have the option to create a project, and then this gives you the project title. And it can either be private that nobody sees it, or public that everybody who's in the program sees it. And then once you've created this this project, then here in the dropdown you can select one of these projects, create tasks there, and this is how they're displayed here currently. Hope this answers your question, Jane. But it's going to get a lot better. It's currently in the sprint, and yeah, I'm excited to. Actually, another thing is it's kind of a hack. It's like an Easter egg. This is my frog. I have this thing called from the book called Eating the Frog in the morning. As you do, if you do exclamation mark frog and you add this, then this task will have a little frog icon here. Or if you do what's trophy, and what else do we have? Fire. Keep forgetting. Yeah, trophy works as well. And what else is there? Exclamation is like another one I could do, but yeah, just little Easter eggs. All right, I'll stop sharing and pass the mic back to you if there's no other questions.
Sure. Let's see. I think we're looking at this one. Okay. So, and you see my screen, David, right? I think with the level 10s. So actually, previously we mentioned the client portal and kind of how we organize documents and spreadsheets for clients. That, to be honest, is something we've really done more or less in the last 6 months. That's become more the norm at Shortlist. However, before that, we were always using upcoach mostly internally to run meetings between different departments. We have, like I said, it's a team of 20. So there tend to be a couple of recurring meetings every month, whether it's, me meeting with the department heads or a meeting that's specifically dedicated to client acquisition or a meeting dedicated to inbound. Whenever we have those kind of recurring style meetings, then we like to build out an agenda and a program within upcoach just to give us some structure and some continuity. Sometimes these meetings are not every week. They can be every 2 weeks, every couple of weeks. And I just found that people were forgetting like what the to-dos were, and what did we kind of discuss last week and things like that. So the first is just the general flow agenda of a meeting itself. We try our best to follow the level 10 approach. And David knows this better than anyone I know, which we typically, start the meeting and we've got all the kind of the members here. This one is specifically for department heads, and we'll kind of go around. Everyone will give a good news update. Sometimes a bad news too, to be honest, but we try to focus on the positive when we can. And then we go through a sort of a combination of reportings, rocks, to-dos. These are all kind of part of the level 10 format. Now, in some of these cases, we're linking out to maybe some admin sheets or things that just for us, we had already been using them to track maybe KPIs and things like that. And like I said, this is actually kind of like a template, so it's not particularly full with too much at the moment. It's more to kind of show a bit the structure. But this, it just, many of us have kind of showed up to a meeting and it's kind of like, hey, who's leading this? What's the agenda? What's the flow going to be? And this just kind of helps us with that. In addition to the actual agenda itself, which serves the purpose of structuring an individual particular meeting, which in this case is once a week. I think I have to share the other tab here just to be able to switch tabs. So let me try that and just change it up a bit. I think it's this one. Yep. And I should be sharing now. We have just sort of, if I was to go one level up, then it from an individual meeting, we have kind of a program, I guess, specifically for the internal meeting, similar to kind of what I showed with the clients, but a different structure because it has different needs. So this might have, again, communication board if a forum is your thing, tasks and to-dos, lists of meetings and upcoming events. It's from these meetings that we get into the agenda that I showed before. And basically, yeah, if there's any sort of event. So we keep it pretty simple. I like meetings to be not like without too much overhead. So we're really just trying to get people talking and give everybody a bit of a flow. But that's what we've been doing now at Shortlist for really, like I said, since the beginning of upcoach, and we do it for all recurring meetings, and department heads do it for people that work on their team, like if they're doing individual one-on-ones, performance reviews, things like that. Again, always just kind of changing a little bit the agenda of the program to kind of fit their needs, but you can kind of see how relatively easy it is to take an existing program, and then whenever you have a new recurring meeting or a new one-on-one with a person, you've got that template, and you can ensure me, in this case, me as kind of the head, the person running the organization, that everything is following a similar process, a similar flow, and the way managers are interacting with employees or the way meetings are being run, they all kind of follow the same approach. And I think that standardization is important, just to kind of make an organization run well. But again, David, being kind of the resident expert here, are there other things you've seen that would be interesting to note?
Laurie just asked, are you using Slack as well, or is all the communication happening inside of upcoach? Currently, we still use Slack because it's the chat that we have works, does its thing, but it's not as powerful as Slack. But we're also working on a new upgraded version where we integrate a third-party app, which then will give us almost an exact experience as we have in Slack, and then we'll probably fully move over to the upcoach chat. Currently, I'm using for the team. We still use Slack, but with coaches, I'm using the chat inside of upcoach. Any other questions? Talk to us. By the way, random thing, Shortlist also does the at upcoach. They write some articles for us, they build backlinks for us, and they also do some web dev for us. Yes, Laurie, we will keep those updates coming. The dev team is working hard on this. We have another building blocks call tomorrow, and we're going to introduce the lifeline exercise. Actually, I can share my screen real quick, which you can see here in the upcoach community. Again, a use case for an agenda. We start using the agenda as well for these calls. So like the topics that we're going to present tomorrow, which is why we're doing these building block thingies, and then the Wheel of Life, the new things that we've shipped. Wheel of Life save as a PDF, and then the timeline/lifeline app, which turned out really cool. I'm a big fan of the lifeline exercise to use in groups. And then we'll brainstorm a new app idea to pick. This is currently with like note-taking, journaling, and gratitude app, a chart metrics KPI app, OKR, Ecomap. I guess you can read for yourself. So if you want to join us tomorrow for this call and spec out the next app.
Nice. I think perhaps Barack just corrected you. That's the day after tomorrow.
Oh, so day after tomorrow.
But
Okay.
as you're mentioning webinars, David, it could be interesting also to hear from some of the audience here what other webinars they'd like to see. And while I'm kind of putting out that question to see if there's people that might have an interesting response, I did see a question from Lori about the hardest part of getting clients to adapt to this platform for a services project. And it's a good point. I would say a couple things for starters. In some cases, obviously, for taking on a client from the very beginning, then we are not then they're being introduced to this for the first time, and they're kind of seeing that, oh, well, this is just the way things are done, and it's less of a concern about sort of transitioning. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of it really comes down to, number one, is just kind of like the consistency of making sure to remind and direct people's attention kind of where they can go. And since, as individuals, human beings, we're likely to often forget, then we try to kind of just incorporate as much standardization and templating as we can, at least to build off of. So, obviously we showed off like some of these templates and programs in upcoach that will create a new environment for a new client with. But even things like client onboarding emails, like the first welcome email that somebody gets when they kind of sign up with us, that is templated. Now we'll go through that and we'll make adjustments to talk maybe about their particular project or something like that. But because we've already kind of, sort of secured the spot in that email where we say, and by the way, this is where you go to see all your client information, and we have the link to the upcoach portal and everything like that, nobody ever really forgets. So just kind of like having those templates there that you can't customize, but they kind of get you 80% of the way. I think that just helps making sure that things get constantly mentioned where they should. And then over time, with enough prodding and poking, people basically remember where to look.
Cool. Burak, could you please share the information, like how to sign up for the building blocks call and when it's happening? This would be great. And one question was, how do you use smart docs efficiently to help manage team or follow up the progress of our team or our coaching students? I mean, in my coaching, I use the smart docs. It's like I have the North Star document. Let me share that. Actually, anyhow, I have this North Star document where people define their vision, mission, values. And so the powerful thing of using the smart docs, you can see like how do people fill it out or not. So you can kind of see this before you jump on a call with somebody to see the completion rate of this. And then if in case they do not complete it, haven't touched it yet, then you can follow up with them before the call to make sure this happens. Another thing you can do with a team, that you create a smart document that the entire team can access. For example, if you have like a VTO, US, well, it's a vision traction organizer, where you have like your vision, mission, values, your 10-year goal, and that kind of like all these things in there. So you can create this type of document also, and then give everybody in this program access to this document, so everybody can edit it and see it. What else? I plan to update and build out the user coach onboarding course. There's no lesson to add buttons to the program that I could find. Yes, so we actually have a new layout that's coming. I can share my screen here. This is the new layout. I don't know if you saw it yet, with this thing here on the side. And also, like, you can have show only the sidebar, or only the switcher, so like you can make it much cleaner. So this is coming very soon, and we have to re-record our onboarding training, and then this thing will come as well. You want to see the lifeline? I guess you have to wait until Thursday for the reveal, Morgan, Robin. I'll make sure that actually, Burak, here, it would be great if you could post the information. Yes, this will also be available as a recording. So we'll post this recording into the community so you can see that. Or are you talking about? If you're talking about the building blocks call, this will also be available as a recording, of course, in the community. Where do I see they do the tasks and complete them? Just open this one up. All right, where do I see that they do the tasks and complete? Also, is there a way to give rewards, points to students or team members for achieving certain milestones? No, so you cannot reward them in the system. What you can see either in the program, where if things are completed or not. That's pretty straightforward. So actually, let me just assign you. I guess assign you would be me, but you can see this fairly simply here. But you can also see this in the back end when you go into the CRM part and then access a client. Then you can also see this there. just turn this off. How are team members calculated for billing? No, so we're currently working on this. It's already spec'd out. So I think it's gonna be another 3 months, and then you can also do the billing piece inside of upcoach. That's not there yet. And Burak, yeah, thank you very much for sharing this. Okay, yeah, Burak basically shared the link to the community. I'm gonna reshare this. I think we also have sent out a oops. Yeah, it's May the 4th, and you can find when you go into the community. It's basically here. You see when it's happening in your time zone. And I think we'll also send out another follow-up email if you're inside of our system. Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you. If you want to reach Dave, how can people reach you if they have any questions about Shortlist?
Yeah, for sure. Again, if you have any questions about anything we discussed today, just about how we're using UpCoach, I'm happy to chat. Send me an email, dave@shortlist.io. And then obviously, if you want to talk marketing and things, that's great too. So thanks for having us on the show, or me on the show, David. And thanks for everyone for all the engagement and questions.
It's very important that it's dave@shortlist.io, because if you write it to david@shortlist.io, then I get it. And I get so much spam from people that reach out to us wanting to hit up Dave and not me. So yeah, awesome, everybody. Thank you for joining. I hope you can make it on May the 4th to our building blocks call, which is actually on May the 4th, 9 p.m. Istanbul time, which is it's 8:30 now. So basically 20 minutes from now on May the 4th, if you want to join us. All right. Awesome,
Cool.
everybody.
Cheers.
Dave,
Thank you.
thanks, man.
See ya.